Hershey beating on the top and bottom lines despite raising estimated full year costs of tariffs to between 170 and 180 from between 15 and 20 million dollars. A bittersweet earnings call for CEO Michele Buck, planning to step down very soon, August 18th, joining us exclusively on CNBC for a final broadcast interview as Hershey CEO Michele Buck. Welcome. It's good to have you. It's been good to have you throughout, your tenure as CEO, Michele. But just on this current quarter, I'm curious how you characterize the consumer environment right now.
Yeah, so thanks, Sarah. It's great to be here. So first of all, we are thrilled with our strong quarter that we delivered in the second quarter and the momentum that we're seeing on the business. As we look at the consumer, we're seeing a pretty steady consumer from where the consumer was in Q1. Clearly, consumers are needing to make choices and trade-offs. And we're delighted that as they're doing so, they have really placed a lot of value on the emotional well-being that our products deliver in delighting them in their daily lives. So confection has fared even better than snacking overall with the consumer.
Do you think that's because of some of the, trends right now? We spoke to Ramon, for instance, from Pepsi about people demanding, protein and all these social media trends and also health concerns and what the perceptions are right now around how they want to be snacking?
So I think we have continued to see what's driving our category has been innovation. Consumers respond to innovation, excitement in flavors and news. Certainly the emotional well-being that our category delivers. We've heard from consumers as we've seen some of the research around stress and increased level of stress. We've seen our category fare even better. And we had some laps. We do know that there are long-term trends where consumers have been gradually moving to even healthier, more permissible products. And we're delighted that we've transformed our portfolio to offer choices to those consumers, whether it's zero sugar chocolate or whether it is Skinny Pop or Dots Pretzels, the rest of our portfolio offerings.
Yes, and you really took that portfolio into the salty snacking realm. How do the tariffs impact you? Because I did notice, as I just mentioned, bigger tariff impact. Where are you feeling that?
So the biggest place we're feeling the tariff impact is cocoa. And that said, I would say that we are pleased that the governmental officials understand the issue with cocoa and the fact that we cannot grow cocoa in the U.S. And I was pleased to hear Secretary Lutnick speak yesterday and specifically call out cocoa and the understanding of some of those natural resources. So I'm optimistic about what might be to come relative to cocoa and a potential exemption.
Well, also cocoa futures have they've gone parabolic in the last 2 years, up, I think, more, 120, 130%. So add it all up, Michele, and what's happening with consumer prices on Hershey products? How much more will we have to pay?
So we've taken a long-term view as we look at cocoa inflation and rising prices. Certainly over the long term, we are committed to covering cocoa inflation with pricing and with productivity, aggressive productivity initiatives. So we're pulling every lever possible. We did a big cost transformation project, a smart complexity initiative to really prune productivity in our SKUs. But we will see some increase in prices going forward so that we can continue to invest back in the business, something we think is so critical so that we continue to offer the products that consumers are looking for that really fulfill and delight them.
So higher cocoa prices, and you think tariff exemptions on cocoa, so consumers won't have to pay higher inflation on cocoa on tariffs?
So as we look at pricing, we disconnect pricing and tariffs. We are not pricing to cover tariffs. We are strictly taking a strategy on pricing at this moment in time that is really about covering cocoa inflation, which we have not done in our P&L. We've absorbed a lot of cocoa inflation over the past couple of years to really protect the long-term health of the category and the consumer. Tariffs, we believe, are too volatile at this point in time to make any decision on relative to pricing. So, we are in more of a wait-and-see mode of waiting to see where that shakes out and hoping that the exemption will come.
Michele, it's David Faber. In light of your soon-to-be departure, I'm curious. I can remember at least a couple of times, I think, during your tenure where Mondelez I believe, tried to buy the company. You have a unique voting structure that gives the Hershey Trust the ability to stop any company from doing so if it doesn't approve of that. My question is, do you believe in the future of the Hershey Company there will ever be a day in which there will be a potential sale or one could be entertained, or is the Hershey Trust determined to make sure the company remains independent?
You know, as we look at mergers and acquisitions as it relates to our business, we've been very focused on how do we continue to drive against the strength that we have in our core portfolio and then look at opportunities where we can access new consumers and new occasions. And we're really pleased with the strategies we've employed to expand the portfolio into permissible salty snacking and also protein. So those are the two places that we are really focused on going forward in the future. I think the trust has a long-term view in the outlook of our company.
All right, but when it comes to the potential sale of the company, and again, there may be still some speculation in your shares, is it fair to assume that will never happen because the Hershey Trust wants Hershey to remain independent?
All I can say, I can't speak for the trust, that we continue to drive against our M&A strategies and what we think is right for the business to continue to delight consumers with the breadth of our portfolio, and that's where we'll be focused over the months and years to come.